Got hammers like West Ham taxmen. You don't want to see the gang vex, man. Pull up in 2-litre dingers and press that.
Selling bag, going ham in West like Declan Rice. Doing like popcorn, everything nice. Whoa.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Hammers Fans United. Welcome back to the Player Rating Show. And what a fantastic evening or morning for Kieran. Kieran, how are you feeling, 24 hours after the final whistle, roughly?
Yeah, I think I'm still waiting for it to sink in because I was in shock after that result. It's not one, as we done the prediction show the other day, I didn't expect us to be able to walk away there 3-0 winners and be that impressive. We were impressive. And that was just a joy, an absolute joy, even though I was still nervous up to the 85th minute.
Exactly, me too. I'm the same.
Don't let him in. Don't let him score. Don't make it hard. But once he got to the 85th, I went, I think I can relax now, surely.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Right. Let me just quickly, there's only a few comments and then we can get back. Stuart, as always, first in the chat. Hi, everyone. Great win for the Mighty Hammers. Well deserved too. Onwards to Frankfurt. Come on, you Irons. That's from Stuart. Big up, Stuart, man.
Thanks,
Stuart says, hi, brother Titch and brother Kieran. Hope you're both well. I am fantastic. Kieran, you good?
Yeah, mate. Really good. Really good. Fabulous. Stuart, it's nice. It's been a long time since we got to a semi-final. I mean, it's 1976. I was at the last semi-final we were in against Frankfurt.
Against Frankfurt as well.
In 1976.
That's crazy.
Yeah, at home anyway. I was at the home game.
We lost the first leg, didn't we?
We lost the first leg, got them at home, and we beat them 3-1 with 2 goals from Trevor Brooking and one was a header and one screamer from Keith Robson, top corner. And we had to beat them 3-1 to go through, and we did. Wow. And Brooking run the show, mate. He was just fabulous on that night. And that was one of the best atmospheres at Upton Park under the lights ever. It was on track Frankfurt. A lot of West Ham fans who were there will tell you that. It was just an amazing night. Amazing night. So, and here we go again, Frankfurt.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All these years later.
All these years later, exactly. So, hopefully it's the repeat of that in regards to the outcome. And then we can go one step further. But, we'll cross that bridge, as always, when we get there. Big up Lawrence. Lawrence says, just arrived in Birmingham, Alabama for a weekend with my lady. Have a great show, Titch and Geezer. So he's gone away to Birmingham. You must have heard of Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
Birmingham. He's gone there for a dirty weekend, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't go to Birmingham for a dirty weekend.
No, not this Birmingham.
No. It looked pretty rough the last time I saw it. But there you go.
Birmingham, Alabama will be a better prospect than Birmingham, Midlands, UK. Who we got here? Hi, brother Lawrence Watkins. Hope you're well. Lee, big up Lee. Hello, everyone. Lee, the main man's in the house. Hope you're well,
Hi,
Lee.
young Lee.
James Bong, good evening. As always, says good evening all. Hi, James Bong. How you doing? Big up Harmony, channel royalty, as we know. Hope you're well, Harmony. Thanks, as always. And yeah, she left a really good comment on the video I put up yesterday of, I think it was Rice and Bowen's interview, just saying, it was.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, you saw it. Pleasure to be part of, all of this. And I said, it's definitely our pleasure.
Yeah.
Definitely to have, James says, hey, I'm staying drunk to avoid the hangover.
Yeah. Well done, James.
Sorry, skipped one minute. I'm good, thank you. Hi. Harmony says, hey, at the disabled team. Right, so so just the same as you, Kieran. I'm very much that same, very pessimistic. So until like maybe the same 85 minutes and then they hadn't scored, then I relaxed a bit and then I was more panicking about let's keep a clean sheet because
clean sheet then, yeah.
Yeah, even then that would have put a down on for me.
Yeah, it would have spoiled a little bit if we'd let them score because the performances were so strong, especially at the back. Once we'd settled down into the game, everyone was so solid. I wanted for them not to concede, to come away with that clean sheet. It was great, mate. But Yeah, I'd say in that last 20 or so, they'd really run out of ideas. I think Leon, we just stopped them at source, and that they were running out of ideas. They couldn't do it.
Big up Robert, as always. Robert Singer and says, "Good evening, you guys. Thanks for tuning in, Robert."
Hey, Robert.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so I said during the watch along, Kieran, that I said not that I was disappointed, but from a Leon's fans' perspective, if that was West Ham, we was 3-0 down, and not really. Would you have been a bit pissed off with the team for not, even at 3-0, not really giving it a good go?
I would, but I can understand. I think what rocked them was that goal just before half time. And that normally does kick you in nuts. But then you can get in at half time, and then you can have your team talks. The manager can change it. He can bring on substitutions. But to concede straight after half time, I think that was that. I think it just put them on their arse. They just couldn't believe that 3-0 down now after all the changes they made, and they would have been on their arse. They would have gone, fuck, how do we get back into this now? But they were, and maybe that reflects their position in their league. About 9th in the league. They're miles off the top. They're not going to qualify for Europe in their league position, and they do look vulnerable at the back.
Yeah,
they did in the first leg, and they did here. We weren't allowed to exploit it in the first leg because we were down to 10 men in the second half. But we still scored a goal against them. Having said that, and that was a big mistake by their defender, who they decided not to play, Bowen.
Yeah.
And so they are vulnerable at the back. They've got a good right back in that young lad, that Gusto. He looks tidy. But the rest of it is there to be had. And it suited us then, Fitch, because they were coming at us. This suits West Ham. I keep saying it. We're happy with 30-odd% of possession. Let them have it and then break on them. I've always said that. We break well. And that third goal for Bowen was that typical breakaway goal, and just a brilliant ball by Fornals.
Once again.
And a great finish by Bowen with his right foot. So, yeah, it suited us now, them coming at us. And we just took advantage of that with a third goal. And really, we could have easily put more on if we'd been a bit more savvy when we were breaking away again. But I think we'd settled for the 3-0.
Right. Stuart says, I think it was a case of West Ham not letting Leon try, to be honest. So, he's giving West Ham credit for, nullifying them. Which I definitely agree with that. I just think, it's like, I just, as the game was, it was almost like we was in total control, and I loved it, but I was looking at it from their perspective, and, you had their supporters doing the Les Poznan, when they turn their back, and I'm thinking that's how they, understand? They don't even want to watch what this.
No, no, it was good. And that was another thing too. That second goal quietened that crowd, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because they were up for it. You get the noise you could hear from. They were back in their team. But as soon as that second went in, after half them seats were empty. Everyone stayed in the bar. I said, "Fuck this! We'll just have another couple of beers before we go back and watch this." So it did quieten the crowd as well. So. Yeah.
Right, Robert said, I told you, let's see out the first 20 minutes, then we play, which obviously was the case because we did have to see out those first 20. Before we get any further in the comments, Kieran, how was you feeling during that first roughly 20-minute period?
Yeah, I was a bit panicky. I was really nervous, mate. Really nervous because that Nkembe was tearing us apart a little bit. He was everywhere, and he was good feet. Quick, strong, and he was causing us problems. And they hit the post, and I went, shit, we got away with one there. They had a couple of crosses came in the middle. We were sort of throwing bodies at them, and we put a great block by Dawson. And oh man, we don't want to keep on like this. We've got to settle into the game and start controlling it. And I think after that little period, we did. And then I did notice Rice was just calming it down. He weren't, flying forward. He was getting the ball, hold it, and we were. And it was a clever tactic at the time because he was just trying to stop their momentum. Just play the ball, keep the ball for a while, Wherever we go along the back, where we go up to the wings and back, just keep the ball for a little while and kill their momentum a bit. And we did. And then we grew into the game.
Yeah.
And then comes the corner. And up pops Big Dawson, mate. God, mate. The determination on that boy's face when he's running for that ball, you can see it, mate. There's only one winner here.
Yeah.
And bang. And that up he comes. That changed it. They were 1-0 down there.
You know, I did say before that actual corner that all of Fornals' deliveries on the night, whether they set pieces or, you know, just crosses and that, they was all basically on the money. So he was very consistent. He was consistent with his deliveries for now, as well as all the other magnificent stuff our little Spaniard done. Right, let me just get through the comments, and I'm gonna something that I realized after the game. It's not anything. Right, so let me get. Where are we? I'm very well, thank you, Lee. I'm here. Right, Robert says, what was the Lyon manager? 3-0 down and makes the sub on 88th minute. Right, so he brought on Rene Adelaide, who he might be on loan from Arsenal, or, you know, he was formerly of Arsenal. He's a forward player. You're 3-0 down. And I said at the time, I didn't use the word disrespectful, but I think it is. Don't bring him on now. Those players out there have done that. He's not like you're 1-0 down and you're bringing on a late sub. He can't do anything in this game. I just think bringing him on is just really that's not good management. What's your opinion? Kieran, let's say it was you, right? You're playing, you're a forward player, midfield forward. You're 3-0 down. Your team's basically under the thumb by West Ham. You're going out at home, and then the manager brings you on 88 minute. How would you feel mentally?
I think that, but it depends on your situation in the pecking order. You know, if you're a young lad that, you know, doesn't normally play for the first team and that, and he's bringing you on just to give you a couple of minutes experience, you know, he's doing it for the right reasons. You know, maybe. But maybe this guy thinks he should be playing, and to bring him on, if I was that player, I thought, fuck me, I could have done better than this lot. And he brings me on the 88th minute. It's a bit like what Man United have done with Lingard. They've done that to him in games this year, bring him on at the end when they've lost the bloody game. You know, you look at it and go, you're fucking laughing, yeah?
Exactly.
Waste of time. You know, if you're that sort of player, no, pointless. But why bother, mate? Me, you ain't going to score you 3 goals in the next 3 minutes, am I?
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
I looked at his demeanour, and you remember this guy's been around a long time. He's been on loan elsewhere as well. So he's an established professional football player. He's not no 18, 19-year-old up and coming. So I looked at his demeanour, and you could see he was pissed off, man. Like, how dare you bring me on now?
Yeah. Like I say, if it was a young lad out of the under-23s, he might like to just get on for. But I doubt it. I still even then, I think I doubt it. Because I reckon by the time he came on, all his fans had gone home.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Harmony says, okay, we've got another talking point. Right, let me know. First of all, let me big up Christopher Stokes. Thank you for tuning in, as always. And let me big up my broski, Hammerhead. Oi, oi, evening, beautiful people. And he also said, back once again, broski and Kieran, the Aussie legend.
Hammerhead. He's still awake, isn't he?
Let's get to Harmony's. Harmony says, I wonder how much Everton have donated, I think, to Burnley's owner's hidden bank account to sack Dyche. Yeah, do you know that Burnley sacked Sean Dyche today?
Yeah, I did. I heard that just before I went to bed, last night. And, well, it's a strange decision with, 8 games to go for them, I think. It is a strange decision. Unless Burnley, to me, that sounds like they've already given up and they're preparing for next year in the Championship. But having said that, you know, even that doesn't make sense when I'm saying that, because if you went down to the Championship, you'd want Dyche.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'd want Dyche. You know, there's no better man to get you up than Dyche in the Championship, because the 2 seasons they've had down there, I think he only lost about 10 games over 2 seasons when he was in the Championship, when he brought him back up.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I don't. I could, even if they were, you know, they are relatively new owners, aren't they? Been there about 18 months. And even if they thought, well, we want to go in a new direction, then why give them a contract last year for 4 years? You know, nothing makes sense. They're giving him a new contract. He's still got 3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense, you know. And I'm going, well, why? 8 games to go. Unless you're sacking him and then announcing a guy you brought in thinks you can save you, which they haven't. Apparently, Ben Mee's going to take over till they do get someone.
That's crazy.
It's a bit strange. It's a bit strange of a sacking. Unless they had an argument.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was about to say, the only thing that makes sense is that Sean Dyche was, let it be known he's disgruntled about whatever it may be, and they've had enough of him sort of trying to call the shots. Maybe that, you understand, like where he might think he's bigger than the club. Maybe, I don't know. Otherwise, they might have just run out of patience with him.
Yeah, everything they're doing, even selling Chris Wood didn't make sense, except for the fact they've got 25 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That to me is an acceptance. We might go down. We'll just get the 25 mil. Because it is overpaying for fucking Chris Wood. Let's be honest here. I mean, he's about a 10 million pound player. So they got their 25 million in, and maybe that pissed Dyche off. Maybe he had no say in that.
Yep.
And maybe, but he didn't. Obviously, he didn't walk. They sacked him. But that means they got to pay him out for the next 3 years.
Yep.
None of it makes sense. And God, I'd be dreading it now as a Burnley fan if Sam Allardyce walks in. I'm going, oh, fucking hell. We are fucked.
Right. Before we move, I'm going to get through all these comments, and I'm going to, before we get into the ratings, one yes or no answer. Does Dyche being sacked help us in any way for Sunday's game?
Well, here we go. This is the $1 million question, We knew what we were getting with Dyche, and I'll tell you what we were getting was a tough game and a hard game to break them down. We've always struggled against Burnley to break them down. He's good like that. I say good like, he's shit like that because he's a negative, boring fucking manager for me. But he's doing what he has with limited resources and a team that's, really a championship team. And he's punched above his weight and done well with them, to be fair.
Yep.
But now we don't know what we're going to. If you look, they're going to have Ben Mee, right? Now, Ben Mee's loved at that club. Like, he's like their Mark Noble.
Yeah.
So if you said that, like, say we lost Moyes tomorrow and Mark Noble jumps in,
Yeah.
Would we be going, well, if Moyes was doing shit and then all of a sudden Noble could get that fucking dressing room up, couldn't he? He could get them up to, believing that they can go out and beat us. So I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing now. Ben Mee might just get the best out of them players. Or would we even better with fucking Dyche defending like shit and frustrating us like shit? I really don't know. It's an interesting scenario now. But it could be the opposite. Ben Mee don't know what he's doing. He's only a player, by the way. You know what I mean?
And it affects him and his game. Yeah, we don't know. We'll see on Sunday.
I just think he may be that one of them Ben Mee, because he is one of them. I don't think he's the greatest player in the world, Ben Mee, but you always see the effort from him every week. That boy's 100%. He reminds me a bit of Noble. And he doesn't give up, whatever his limitations are. So I'd imagine he'll have that dressing room up for the fight. But we'll see.
Right, I'm going to get through all these comments. Stuart says that was a crazy sack-in Harmony. I thought it was bad, but thought ours was bad, but that beats that. Boom, I'm going to get through all these now, you lot, and we will start the actual player ratings, which I'll be interested to see everybody's views. Robert says, I liked Dyche, straight-talking guy.
Yeah.
Hammerhead says, and that's why 4-0s take set pieces for Spain. I think that is Burnley done now, to be honest. Leon only had 3 shots on target. We had 6, so we had double their shots. Agree. Spot on Titch. Sorry, Robert. Now, as always, I'm a bit behind, so I don't even know what spot on. But thank you. Whatever that was. Dyche will get a club quite easily for next season. He's a good manager. What he has done with Peanuts is incredible. He has done a good job. I can't deny that. Always awake. I never sleep, Kieran. That's from Hammerhead.
Good for you, sir.
Right, Robert says Everton want Dyche when they sack Lampard next week. That wouldn't surprise me either. Yeah, that really wouldn't surprise me. Robert says it's Ben Mee and the under-23s management team.
Oh, that's what's taken over, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or Q Sam Allardyce from Robert.
Yeah. God, that would scare the shit out of me as a Burnley fan.
Wood had a release clause, but Newcastle triggered it. Burnley couldn't stop it.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. See, that's why we need you lot in the chat, because I didn't know that. Ben Mee might have the dressing room. There's one good thing to come out of this. Guess who will be easier next season? Yeah, next season, hopefully. They're not the same old hard to break down. When was the last time the top tier had a player manager? Exactly. I can't. Robert will probably know. When was the last player manager in Premier League? Harmony says Fulham just bottled it. They were back in the Premier League for 31 minutes and Derby in League One. Then Derby scored 2 and win it. So Derby, they're down, but they're going down with a fight basically. And Fulham are just sort of in cruise control at the minute. Right. So before we start, you lot, and we will get to this now. Let me big up Kieran. I know that if you are watching me, sometimes for the watch along, you put it on mute because you might be behind me.
Yeah.
But I try to, bring some sort of good omen, and I said I'm gonna bring Stuart, aka Shrek, into the stream, and from that point onwards, it was 0-0. We scored not long after he entered, so he may well be the good luck omen for West Ham, and what no better person to actually be that good luck omen. So he's gonna stay right there. So yeah, brought him in, and then our fortunes turned around and we started stamping our foot in that game. So thank you very much,
Well done,
Stuart.
Stuart.
What I realized after the game was that, I think it's a big thing, is that all 3 goal scorers were English.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Antonio is English, but he represents Jamaica. And then Ben Johnson. So we only had 4 English players, I think, those 3 and Ben Johnson. And 3 of them, Noble came on, but I'm saying 3 of them was goal scorers, which in Europe as well. I think that's a big that's a big thing, I think. And they all have a D in their name. We had Dawson, we had Declan, and who's the other one?
Mark Bowen.
Dyer. But no, that's a special achievement. 3, big night for West Ham.
In this day and age, it is an amazing achievement because you must, most teams now, are up the top of their leagues and playing in Europe would probably have about 60-70% foreign players in them from various places around the world. So they have some homegrown players, which is, and I think this is where English football suffered for quite a while when the first influx of foreign players came in, because we seemed to stop developing the youth and bringing them through. I think in the last sort of 8 years or so, 10 years, that's changed. We are developing more youth now and bringing them through, and they're more prominent now, English players in teams. And I remember something that pissed me off with Arsenal when I think they were the first team to field a whole 11 that was just, and I remember Arsenal then, they were even recruiting their youth from France. They weren't bringing through the school systems or they were recruiting from France to bring in kids at 11 and 12, and I thought that was bad. That's bad for any country doing that, not developing your own youth first. I thought that's a bad business model, but there you go.
Right. While we're on the subject of that, I'm going to just and I want people's genuine opinion on this, and then we will start. Right. So if Burnley go down, we need to poach a red horse, says Hammerhead. At least I'm good for something, says Stuart, aka Shrek, aka the good luck charm. Jared. Robert says, I think it was Gianluca Vialli at Chelsea was the last player manager. Hammerhead asked, who was the last player manager in the Premier League? And I said Robert might know. I can't think.
That could be cool.
Big up Lee. Good win last night. No, Lee, it was a great win. Fantastic win. From Championship to Champions League, a book by Craig Dawson. Keep saying that because I definitely, oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say now. No, I remember what I'm going to say. I want to say it when Kieran comes back, you lot. Right. And this is a genuine question that I've been, banging on about for the last probably 10 years. And when he comes back, I'll explain what it is, and then it might give everybody else a better insight into. Right, Kieran, did you know that? And everybody, did you know that in Holland, for instance, their academy, the youth teams will have like 4 or 5 teams per age group.
Wow.
And the reason why they do that is because they acknowledge that, different players develop at different ages, and rather than lose players, they know that it's you might be the best under 9s, under 10s. When it comes to under 12s, you understand. So anyway, they give more opportunities and therefore they create better players because they're more patient with them, right?
Yeah.
So in this country, we have one team per age group, right? Now, my thing was about, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago when I was heavily involved with all the academies. I said that I think that each academy, and they've all got the money to do it. Chelsea have got all the pitches in the world. If you go to their training ground, it's just pitches after pitches of carpet. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't see why all of these academies shouldn't have their second academy, whatever you want to call it, should be full of English players. You understand? Like, so they've got Chelsea A and whatever you want to call it at each age group, but I think they should have one that is solely English players. Because they've got the facilities, they've got all of these. It's nothing. It wouldn't cost them anything to put in that little bit of extra time with double the amount of kids, and it gives young English players a better chance of making it through, because if you're there and you are good enough, at some point they're going to think, hold on a minute, the boy in the whatever you want to call it, the shadow squad, he's good. You understand? But they let too many players just go by the wayside. So there's a lot of players that are academy players, but there ain't no room for them. Do you understand? Like, there's a lot of players that might play on grassroots football.
Exactly. Yeah. There's only so many numbers they're going to have there, and that's it, isn't it? Even Rice alluded to that, didn't he, when he done that interview with Neville, that West Ham nearly let him go.
See, I didn't hear that. I haven't seen it. Is that what he said?
Yeah, if you watched that interview, he said he'd come from Chelsea to West Ham, and it was after about 18 months, a year, and they said they were picking all the players for the squad, and there was like 2 or 3 left, and they weren't sure if it was going to be him, and he weren't sure. But they were going to let him go, apparently. But the guys that are coaches there, I think they voted and kept him.
See what I mean?
That's how close it was West Ham letting him go.
Right.
So, that proves your point. That proves your point completely.
Yeah. So this guy was released by Chelsea. He was almost released by West Ham. And now, he's 100 million plus player, right?
plus, yeah. There you go.
And you remember that the academies, their thought processes, remember, I've been told this, is at every age group, they've only got 2 or 3 players that they actually genuinely believe can, progress. Not make it, but progress. All the rest are just making up the numbers, but they don't know that. So you might have a squad of 16 at under 13s. They only believe in 2 or 3 of those players that, he's going to be able to play under 16s or under 18s football. The rest of them, grassroots players, are just as good as them, but you're not going to get a look in because they are there. They're part of the system already, and they're there to back up these 2 or 3 players. Yeah. Right. So what you're saying is, Titch, if I was Dutch, I'd be a pro. That's Hammerhead. But that means more young kids have their hearts broken and their mental health damaged. Less than 1% make it being signed to that. I think it's a bad idea. Right. So, if you're going into it and you're always, listen, even if without that system in place, most kids don't make it. All that does do is, that doesn't, I disagree, strongly disagree, Harmony, is that, you might have a kid in that system for, I don't know, from the age of 10 to maybe 18, they might release him, right? But he's now gained all the experience. He's got the credentials that he was at Chelsea. He can go play semi-pro football. He can do coaching. He would have been in an environment. So you're teaching them life skills and potentially other avenues related to football, physio, because you understand. So it creates a lot of career paths for these kids. So, you're always going to get no one can, like for the Europa League, only one team can win it. So not everybody's going to make it as a footballer, but you're giving more opportunities and life skills and all of that for players that at the minute are not getting that chance. Big up, Wally. Godfather Wally, thank you for tuning in. As always, we haven't even started yet either, Wally, so you haven't missed anything. Football is about playing for the love of the game. Yes, it is. Right, so we are now going to get onto the ratings. And because I had to bring all the ratings into this studio, I only went as low as 5 rather than bring in.
I think you'll be right tonight, mate. I think you'll be right tonight. So.
I didn't need to bring in 4.54 because then, there's more time consuming. But I thought, no way. Right. So everybody in the chat, elaborate if you can. We are going to start with the player ratings. And of course, we are going to start with the man between the sticks. And that was Alphonse Areola. our Europa League goalkeeper. Kieran, you know, sum up his display and all of that, and everybody else, please.
With all that first 20 minutes he had to face, he really didn't have to make a save, amazingly enough. But yeah, look, the guys, I think it's time to, you know, get it done, sign him, get him on loan again for another year, or sign him. It's as simple as that. The boys, I think he's a good keeper. I think he probably gives confidence to the two centre halves too, with him behind. And then with all the attack they did have, there was, when we were 3-0 up. I'm nervous, mate. I'm nervous, like 3-0 up, and I'm nervous.
Yeah.
We don't want to give them a sniff or hope. Don't want them. And all of a sudden, they had one chance, right? That came to that boy and hit it to the corner, and he was down there full stretch and flipped it round the corner. And that's the save. That's what I keep saying about goalkeepers. Sooner or later, they'll be called on maybe 1-2 saves in a game that keeps you, you know, helps you win the game, win points, or just stops that other team having hope to come back. Because at that point, 3-1, then they could have got a roll on. We could have got nervous. We could have, but he saved it. He got to it, put it round the corner, and well done, son. So yeah, and so that's he didn't have a great deal to do, but everything he done well. So I think a good solid 7.5.
7.5. Oh snap! Sorry, that's blocking that. Let me put this over that. Right. So let me just quickly go back to Harmony's comment. She says, they scout them at 4 years old, so very, very wrong. Sorry, it's wrong. Let me clarify. You cannot sign for an academy until you are 9 years old. So 4 years old is way off the mark. 9 years old. Now, what little kid is not going to want to represent Fulham, Chelsea, QPR, Palace? They're not worrying about whether they make it or not. They're worrying about, you know, they're not worrying about nothing. They're just thankful that they're there. You know, everything else after that is part of life. You know, you might go to university and you don't get the qualification. There's always disappointments in life. So yeah, 9 is, you can't sign for an academy until you're 9 years old, not 4 years old. Let me, oh sorry, I got everything covering the rating. One sec. Hold on. Let me bring that up here. There we go. Right, so 7.5. Now let's get to the comments. Hammerhead says, Areola's solid. We need to sign him up ASAP. He gave him an 8 out of 10. Stuart says, Areola didn't have a lot to do, but what he had to do, he did okay. 7 from Stuart. Areola is definitely worth 15 million. Of course, in this day and age, of course he is. Areola, right, Robert says, Areola 8 with not a lot to do, really. That's crazy, Harmony. What pressure on the young kids? Parents can be nuts. And 100k wages. Wally says 8 for Areola. Should start Sunday.
No.
We'll get back. I was about to say, we'll get to that. Once we get through it, I'm going to
Wally, no. Not happening.
Wally, they pop out from behind trees still, etc. Still madness. They do come and look at them at a young age, but clean sheet, 8 from James Bong. It was on BBC One today. A program is coming about it is happening. They might look at them, but yeah, you got to remember, Harmony. They don't play competitive football till they have to be a minimum of 6 years old before they not competitive. Before they play grassroots, they have to be 6 years or above, and that's all non-competitive. So 4 years old is it's way off the mark. 6 years old is when they can actually start playing organized football. So they would have nowhere to go and see a 4-year-old play football. Right. So Kieran, in response to Wally saying Areola should start on Sunday.
Look, it's easy to say that. At the end of the day, he made one great save there that he needed to make, and he done it. All right, that's what he did. Whether Fabianski would have made that save, we don't know. You know, you can guess that all you like.
He would have saved it.
Yeah, he would have saved that, I mean. But so that's what he's done. So to me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Fabianski's doing a good job for us in the Premier League, and Areola's doing a great job for us in the Europa Cup. I don't know why we would change it. So I think you stick with it, mate. And Moyes isn't one to change too much, is he? So you stick with what's working. If anything, Fabianski would be fucking gutted at the moment. Go, fuck it, I want to get in that cup shit. I want to play in that. Yeah. I reckon Fabianski would swap with Areola tomorrow if he could. So now I'll play the rest of the Europa. You play the Premier League. Fabian, I think Areola's got the better deal at the moment because it's going so well, and we're in a semi-final. But no, I wouldn't change it, mate. Fabianski's a good keeper for us. There'll be, if he had one nightmare, say against Burnley, and he lets 3 silly goals in, then there might be a call for it. But until he does that, I'd stay the same. Keep it as is.
Robert says Fredericks to start Sunday. Wally, right? Harmony says Areola 8 dealt with pressure well. Great save, slowed and disrupted Leon's play. Hammerhead says he's twice the keeper that Fab is, and the defense are more confident with Areola behind them. Wally says, yes, Robert, Soufal needs a break. Exactly, Hammerhead. Hammerhead says, Fab in Europe, my lord, the nightmares I have. You know what? I've said it before, and I know I'm repeating myself. Fabianski, if you think about it, this season, he's done nothing to warrant that. And by changing him over, let me just give you a hypothetical situation. You change it over, and now Areola's playing in both competitions. When there would have been probably an agreement at the start of the season that this is everybody plays their roles. He's the cup keeper. They would have been told this, right? Now watch this. David Moyes breaks his word. He puts Areola in a league games that really now are not going to define our season, because now this is, within a week it's turned around. This is actually our best chance of getting into Europe, is now the European competition. You drop Fabianski, and now you mentally you've kind of, okay, all right, now he feels betrayed. Then Areola gets injured. Now you have to call back on Fabianski, the guy that you disrespected and you lied to. Now you got to rely on him. How would you feel if you lot was Fabianski? Because if you go back through all of our games this season, nothing he's done. Actually, I think he's done better than last season. So that's a very dangerous thing to do, especially at this stage of the season. That could disrupt your whole season because people going back on their word and stuff like that.
Moyes' whole model as well is this squad thing. This is, everyone's got a role. When Fredericks comes in, he has to do a job. If Yarmolenko comes in, he has to try and do a job, which he has. He's contributed in them couple of games where he scored a couple of goals. It has to be that way, and I think it is laid down that Areola gets the cups, he gets the thing. And like I said, unless Fabianski, if he's had a nightmare, he'd understand being dropped, but he hasn't. So you can't dent a guy's confidence like that by dropping him for no reason, just because, And Moyes isn't like that. I think Moyes wants harmony. He's all about harmony in the dressing room, isn't he? And in the squad. So he's got it at the moment.
Right. Fabs, right. Hamed says Fabs has cost us a few goals this season, in my opinion. His movement and position has been quite poor. Robert says keeps Areola hungry playing him in Europe. I agree with that. And Hamed says, I think we've conceded more this season, Titch. I wouldn't say he's done better. Now, my counter to that is he hasn't got Ogbonna in front of him. So we've had, a disrupted back line. So naturally, your keeper is going to concede more. But I'm saying he hasn't made the calamities. You remember Newcastle, where, he was even, there was injuries last season in the warm-up and stuff like that. So I just think that overall this season, he has actually looked better than last season, where he did make a few rash, wherever he was. Do you understand? So I think he's looked better this season.
We can say that basically about every goalkeeper, can't we? Over a season, that many games, they're going to make mistakes. It happens.
Okay. So everybody wants harmony, Kieran. Right. Robert says concede is not always down to the goal pick. Yeah, it's not. And like I said, even if he'd let in 100 goals, we have to look at those goals and hold on a minute. Like, I'm one of these people that I always go back to the source. So, providing the keeper don't let it slip through his hand, I would say, listen, we conceded because hypothetically, Antonio lost the ball, could have got it back. Then he's come through Declan Rice too. So I'm looking at where did this goal start from? Do you understand?
Exactly.
And just diving over the ball and all, then fair enough. But I haven't seen him make any howlers this season, and I mean howlers. It's weird how when things are going so well, some people just want to change things. Thankfully, we have the Messiah, who someone is sacked not so long ago. That's a good point. And going back to the goalkeepers. These two have probably got a fantastic relationship. They're probably, making each other more consistent and that during training. And Fabianski needs Areola to keep doing what he's doing in training, to keep pushing him. So you look, Areola is not just coming in for the cup games and having a cup of tea throughout. He's working hard and he's pushing Fabianski, and together they are working as a unit. So they're working together.
You've just reminded me, Titch, early on in the season when everyone was praising Fabianski because he pulled off a couple of brilliant saves, a couple of games. And I remember putting it down to Areola because now he's being pushed. Before, when you had Martin behind him, he had someone pushing him until he got injured. And then Randolph, they're not going to overtake Fabianski. But Areola has got that potential, and he seemed to get better because he had Areola pushing him.
Right, I'm going to read this and then we're going to get to the next player. We've only done one player. Right, Hamed says, granted, I can remember at least 5 goals that were down to Fab, either not moving or reacting too late, but I wouldn't change how things are currently. Maybe going next season. I'll look for now. I agree with that. I think if we should definitely try and get Areola on a permanent, and 2, I would then change the dynamic. He would be our first choice, but then it's a new season, new agreement, everything's changes, and I'm for that, right? Because let's be honest, overall, he is the better goalkeeper, right? So I would be all for that. And remember, David Moyes is in an industry where, points and results matter. You think that if it was in West Ham's interest to change Areola, you think he wouldn't do it? He would do it. But, Fabianski right now is doing everything to convince Moyes that he's the right man when he plays. Otherwise, Moyes is not going to play. It's like us all, saying Vlasic should start instead of Antonio. We can all say that. We can say he's got more skills, he's better dribbler. We can all say that. You think Moyes is going to drop because why? What does Antonio bring to the team that Vlasic doesn't? A lot. So, I'm not saying that. I'm not comparing Areola to Vlasic and all, but I'm saying, like, if he weren't good enough, Moyes wouldn't play him because Moyes is trying to win a trophy at West Ham or get us into Europe through the league. I'm not knocking Fab. He's just aged. Yeah, next season, 100%. I think now it's time for hopefully Areola to step in, 100%. And I think Fabianski, be 36, 37. Hopefully, let's say we can win this Europa. He's going to be on cloud 9. He's going to be grateful to be still maybe the second choice goalkeeper in the Premier League, in the Champions League, as all part of that. He would now won't worry so much about being.
And not only that, mate, we'd feel happier. If we start next season with Areola as our first pick, and then we've got Fabianski as backup, I'm happy with that, because I'm not bothered which one of them. If one gets injured, I'm happy with the other one. We've not had that in the past. In the past, we've all gone, oh no, it's Randolph, or it's Roberto. Oh, for fuck's sake! Not with these two.
I reckon Areola has made as many mistakes as Fabs, yet has only played about half the games in the Messiah I trust, says James. He has made a few, but, they are human. They are going to make them, and they are highlighted more. Right, let's get on to starting at right back. And, he's through, apparently, all the pain barrier, the injuries. It's Vladimir Soufal. How do you think he played? And, what's his rating? And Robert said, move on. Yes, we have.
Move on. You're right, Robert. Let's get through it. No, I thought he was great. I thought Soufal was good, man. The whole back four played as a back four, and I thought he had a really good game. And he does give us a more of a counter-attacking threat when we have Soufal on the right. And I think he's getting back to his best. What we really loved about him last season. And obviously that hernia, because he did go off the ball, didn't he? And obviously that hernia was playing him up, and it was an issue because he played against Brentford. He didn't do too bad, but you could see he needed them minutes under his belt. And I thought he done really well, mate. I thought he was good. So well done, son, to come back. If he's at his best for the rest of the season, that's a boost for us because we need him back to playing that. So I think he had a solid 8. I thought he was good. Really good.
Let me put that up. Okay, 8 out of 10. Right, this is funny. Wally says Soufal 7, solid but slow.
It's always going to be that.
Hammerhead says
we can't keep up. We know he can't keep up with Freddie, but still.
Yeah, he's just highlighting that. Hammerhead says Soufal 7.5, solid, slowly getting back to himself. Robert says Soufal a 7 for me, steady Eddie. Big up Richard Wharton. Thank you for tuning in. Richard says My team against Burnley in a 3-4-1-2 formation is Fabianski, Diop, Elise, Creswell, Fredericks, Masuaku, Noble as captain, Krau, Benrahma, Yarmolenko, Vlasic. Just quickly, Kieran, do you agree with his thought process there?
Well, whether I agree with it or not, I always think of what's Moyes' thought process. Now, the sensible thing, if we wanted to give up the league, is to do this rotation and really rest players and that. But the history of Moyes is he doesn't. He just, there will be changes. I do believe there will be a few rested. We'll have Cresswell back. So we'll Fabianski will be back in. We'll probably bring Benrahma in. So I think there'll be at least 3 changes. Whether he will go to that extent, and I don't believe he's going to throw in youngsters. No, that to me is really going for a complete rested team almost. I just don't believe Moyes would do it. And be honest, I wouldn't do it. I don't think either, because I would. Like I say, I changed 2 or 3 places, but remember, we don't get into the Europe unless we win the Europa. Now, we're still 3 games away from doing that. But the league is our backup, because we can still qualify in that league. So, and the Burnley game, to me, is one you should be taking 3 points from. You should be.
Should be.
And so it's one of them. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If we throw the same team out and they have a performance like Brentford, well, we should have rotated.
Yep.
If we go out and smash them 3-0 with the same players, well done, Moyes. It's one of them.
All right, just quickly, I will get back through everybody's ratings, and I'm not going to, but just watch this. Richard says, I'm anxious Elise plays a game in case Diop or Dawson gets injured. And this is, this is why at least one of them youngsters have got to come in, because you have to know, are they ready to step up? If, like we've already had Zuma and Ogbonna, you can't test them in a semi-final. You've got to, you understand? So I think that, he's got to use them at some point, and maybe Burnley at home, not to underestimate them, is that might be the only chance you're going to get to put one of these young centre backs in and give him that experience just in case.
Yeah, it's a good idea, because we are up bare bones now, aren't we, with the centre halves?
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see a young lad in there, but like I said, with Moyes, I could never pick what he's going to do. When I think he's going to rotate it, when I think he's going to play, I thought he might play that back 3 against Lyon. No, not a chance. But no, he just doesn't seem to do what you think it makes sense. It makes sense to rotate, doesn't it? And bring in 2 players to the game. It makes sense, but not in Moyes' eyes. Now, bollocks to that. I'm playing the best players I've got and win the game. That's been his philosophy. So I don't.
Right. Stuart says Sufal did really well. 7 point. Good to see. 7.5. James says Sufal gets an 8. Harmony says Sufal 7. Calm in possession. Some class deliveries. Very alert. And she, really good deliveries. Anyone using 5S needs to make a decision up or down. Indecision 1 out of 10. Anyone using 5s needs to make a decision up or down. Oh, 0.5s. Richard said, we saw that. Richard says, Kieran, your philosophy failed against Brentford. What was your philosophy against Brentford?
No, well, it's not my philosophy. It's Moyes'. And he's right, Richard. He played the full team against Brentford. I didn't think he would myself, but he did, and it didn't work. You're right, that could happen again against Burnley. He might do it again, and it fails again. But this is what Moyes does. He's been doing it all season. He doesn't, rest 5 or 6 players. He just goes for it with the team. And you're right. To me, then, Brentford would tell you, right, against Burnley, we need to rest players. But Moyes would go, no. He'd be going, no, we need these 3 points. I want to keep up there and try and finish in the top 7 so we're guaranteed Europe. That'll be in his head.
It is a balancing act.
It is a balancing act. But there will be 3 or 4 changes from that team. There will be. And I think Cresswell and Fabianski, the 2. To me, they come back in.
Fredericks.
And then Benrahma probably gets a start and rest Summer.
Right. 0.5s are allowed, Harmony. They're on official match rating, so why not, says Hamhead. Right, so we're going to move on to This should be
Right,
very interesting.
No more point for harmony's sake. I'm doing no more 0.5s then.
No,
I'm
you
going
can,
one
you
way
can.
or the other. Fair enough.
Here we go. Big Craigie Dawson, who scored the crucial first goal. What are we saying?
Man, I am fed up, right, of fucking giving him superlatives, right, because it's becoming weekly now. Jesus Christ, man. I think it's the bargain of the century, isn't it, that boy?
Yep.
And we all know what Dawson is. He's an old English type centre half, mate. And he's got a mistake in him here and there. But man, the work rate, the reading of the game, everything, his determination to get on the end of a header is unbelievable. God, his nose should be insured because that's the third time in a row he smashed it in 3 games.
And apparently I heard today he broke it in the Lyon game and the Brentford game. He broke his nose both times. They said that they confirmed that today.
Mate,
he's not playing in no face protection or nothing.
no, that nonsense. Don't be silly. I mean, he's permanently got bloody tissue stuck up his ooter, hasn't he?
Yeah.
God, mate, I've never given a 10, but he's fucking close. I'll tell you that now, mate. He was fabulous and scored a goal. Oh,
well,
man.
What you could do just to piss Harmony off is you could give him a 9.5.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I can't give him a 10. If he scored 3 goals, he'd get him a 10. But I reckon he's a 9.5, mate. He was absolutely immense. And if you even look at it even more so over the 2 legs, my God, how he stood up over both them legs. You know what I mean? He was so important to us in that game. And I thought he was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. 9.5.
Richard says, in regards to Moyes, madness to do the same thing and expect different results. I think he's a little bit mad Moyes. Right.
Well, he's mad.
Hammerhead came up with a book title for Craig Dawson. It's something like From the Championship to the Champions League. And I said, when he finishes playing, if we were to qualify, that would be a great book, a great read.
Wouldn't it? That could be his autobiography could be that.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Right, so Hammer says Ballon Dawson a 10. Right, Kieran, sorry, I keep breaking this up, but did you see? No, because you weren't watching on BT. BT Sport, at halftime when they were showing the highlights, officially on the screen, they said Ballon Dawson 28. Whenever he scored, they called him Ballon Dawson officially.
Really?
On the thing. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, they called him. They called him that. That's crazy. Yeah. So he got a 10 from Hammerhead. Wally gave Dawson an 8. Great goal. I love that beautiful man, says Hammerhead. Stuart says Dawson was epic. I'm happy for him. He gave him a 10 out of 10. Robert says Dawson 9 and with the goal 10. He said he thought it was a tampon rather than tissue they stick up his nose. Wally says seriously broke his nose twice. Today they confirmed that today. Lyon and then Brentford. Ballon d'Ors is another guy that has silenced so many. He got a 10 from James Bong. Hammerhead gave him a 9.9. Harmony says Ballon d'Ors 9. Some fantastic blocks and interceptions. Superb goal. Very strong. A couple of sloppy mistakes. He got a 9 from Harmony. Robert says he's great now that I've sorted out his sickness, dizziness. Didn't know that, Robert. I heard it, but I didn't know. BT love West Ham. That's why I tipped. Yeah, and I see just until Kieran comes back, I see not halftime. When we'd scored, they showed Carlton Cole running around, and when he ran onto the flooring, he nearly slipped over. Did he? You wouldn't have seen that either. They had Joe Cole and Carlton Cole in the studio. Yeah, Carlton Cole's running around, but he's trying to not run too fast because he knows his church shoes are going to slip on the floor, and he nearly slipped. That's funny. You could see that. Yeah, even the lady that does it, all three of them like hugging and that West Ham scoring. It's like they are willing West Ham on to obviously win, man.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of clips on YouTube, not from this game, but before when them three are there. I like that girl. That presents with them. She's really nice. She's Chloe as well. I like her.
Yeah.
And yeah, very much like her. But yeah, she's good presenter.
Wallywood, don't you remember he was sick on the pitch and thought it was blood sugar and that? Yeah, see, I heard, I weren't familiar, but I do remember them using the term of dizziness and that, but I didn't, yeah. But yeah, thankfully he's over that. Right, let me remove Kieran's score and we will move on to Big Dawson's centre back partner, and that was Issa Diop, everybody.
Well done, Issa, mate. But all the tossers that were slagging him off before it, mate. I said before this game, mate, this pairing, regardless of what you think of them, have got us through all them group stages. That's what it is. And we know Issa's not always been in his best form and there's mistakes there. But they got us through the group stage. They can play together. I think they were partnerships when we played against Leeds in the FA Cup. There was that partnership. We won that. I think we won against Palace with them too. They can do it. It's just because they made a couple of mistakes. Oh, get rid of him. He's championship. He's rubbish. Fuck's sake, man. Give the boy a break. He's part of this squad that Moyes trusts. And he trusted them to go in there. And I thought, as a pairing, it was like a 10 out of 10. You know, because their positioning was great. The headers, the blocks they made. Issa Diop made so many headers out of there. He was superb, mate. And this is what he can bring. We know he don't always get it from Issa, but this is what he can bring. He is a quality player. I think he just needs more time. And I thought he was superb, and I'd give him a 9.
9 out of 10. You know, I'm going to move on to everybody else's. But yeah, I think I did say it during the watch along. The only blot, and when I think back, you know, retrospectively, was it a blot? He wiped out the guy that was running down the wing. But when I watched it back, I thought, you know what? If he don't take him out, this guy's got free run to run inside our box. Exactly. So maybe he took one for the team. Like,
well, that's why I look at it. Took one for the team, mate.
Maybe
maybe reckless. I don't think it was reckless. He knew exactly what he's doing. He knew he was getting a yellow card for it.
Yeah. So, you know, at the time he knows what's behind it. Sometime on the pitch, when you're watching on TV, it's when the camera pans. Oh, so obviously he knows the bigger picture, and maybe he thought, you listen, if I don't wipe him out, he's gone. He's going to beat me because of, you know, where he is and all. Yeah. So, you know, So I wouldn't even call it a blot. He gets a solid 9. I think he was immense last night, man. Seriously, and I did, you know, keep saying it. Right, so Wally says Diop gets an 8. Harmony says, I think it's an odd version of Vertigo, talking about Craig Dawson. Richard says, Dawson did play for West Brom in the Premiership as a centre-back and as a right-back and was decent. He ended up in the Championship because West Brom got relegated and then went to Watford. And then we obviously, thankfully, got him. Big Issa Diop was so good last night. He took a very smart technical foul. Yes, he got a yellow, but the other player didn't go near him after that, so it worked well. It worked, sorry. 9 from Hammerhead. Robert says Diop 9 was worried when he got a yellow early on, but a superb professional. I was also worried. That was like, I think 20 minutes in, and then I'm thinking, shit. But thankfully, West Ham grew into the game and gave him less work to do than he was doing in the opening 20. Otherwise, potentially, he could have got another one. Hamed says Rolls Royce, only 24 still. James says Diop 8, yet another one who has silenced some of our numpties. He gave him a 9. Oh, he gave him an 8.
Exactly,
and then a 9.
You're right, Jamesy.
Hammerhead said it was very smart, you know, him wiping out that player or taking him out. He didn't wipe him out. He did wipe him out. Harmony says Diop 8 came in and covered well in Zuma's place. Good partnership with Dawes. A little shaky a few times. Right, let me just say this again before we move on. I've got so much respect for Harmony and Stuart for their knowledge on West Ham. You know, they're knowing who's coming for who and, you know, certain people's predicament and, you know, that there epitomizes, you know, your knowledge for obviously, which we already know. But yeah, like really appreciate that, Harmony. Sorry, it's a 9 from James. Right, so we're going to move on to in place of Aaron Quezzo, who was obviously suspended, Ben Johnson at left back, Kieran and everybody in the chat.
Oh, Ben. Young Ben. Oh, I'll tell you what. I've had a little bit of criticism about him going forward. He's not quite there yet, you know. He's still learning, young lad. But I'll tell you what, mate, I thought he was fabulous. I thought he was. He looks. I've never seen a young lad like him that looks so confident and comfortable.
Yeah,
that he's not bothered. You know, that's the occasion's not getting to him. He's not bothered. He's playing out there with a really hostile crowd, mate. You know, and that you think he would get to him a bit, and not a chance, mate. It looks like he's been there forever. And I seem to think, you know, he's had some of his better games on the left, which don't make sense. And I think this was one of them. So I thought he was really, really good. And like Soufal, the whole back four put in a performance, and we needed it. And so I'll give him a solid 8, mate. He was really, really good. And he was part of the build-up there on the left. He was coming forward, winning balls, knocking balls forward. I think he was part of the build-up that one of our goals. So, yeah, really good. Good 8, mate. I really was impressed with him being thrown in there at left back. And to the point where we didn't miss Cresswell that much. And that's saying something. Great. Yeah. Great performance. Well done, son.
Do you know what I noticed when I watched it back? And I watched it in its entirety, which I don't normally do, but, you know, it was a special night and all of that. And yeah, anyway, I've noticed, and I didn't know whether it was a Moyes tactic or it's just his own natural football IQ, is that when we haven't got the ball, when we have got the ball, his movement is to literally hug the touchline as a first instinct, even though the ball's normally, right, let me give you an example. The ball got switched out to let's say our right back. Normally, as a right back, you then come across. So you almost go into the left centre back's position because you're shuffling across. He didn't. He ran wide for about 5 seconds. Then he dropped in again. So I don't know. But Soufal didn't do that. So it's not like both fullbacks have got the same instructions. So I don't know whether that's his natural thing, is that he's reading the game or foreseeing what could happen. Then when it doesn't, then he reverts back to what we would, okay, now you just shuffle across. But yeah, I watched his movement. As soon as we get the ball, his movement is different to even Cresswell. It's completely different. So I think this is his own natural football IQ. That is, I watched it and I was thinking, wow, like he's got a brain on him. He's got a footballing brain on him. Yeah,
he has. He's a good boy, mate. He's a good lad. I just think for some of his age, mate, this is, a European quarter-final. And he didn't look out of place at all. He done really well.
The good thing with him is, he can use his left foot very well. So he's never, ever going to cut back just because he can't use. If he does it because he feels it's the best thing. He can naturally put a ball in, spray the ball with his left foot, which is, he's got a lot to his actual artillery.
I'm pretty sure it was his ball in pitch that they headed out where Rice scored.
Yes.
And it was a good ball in. But the boy headed it out. It was a good ball in. It was just no one at the back post. It was a cracking ball in with his left foot, and then Rice scores from it. So, there's more chance of him getting past the player and putting a left foot in than there is Ben Rama doing it.
Exactly, which is crazy. And he's coming from left back and doing it.
Yes, exactly.
Johnson 8 +1 for playing out of position. So a 9 from Wally. Harmony says Johnson got a 9. Wow, he did do well, especially on his unfavored side. Just brilliant attacking play, not phased in any way. I agree. Robert says Johnson 8, 2 good feet. I agree with that. Stuart says he had a solid game. Hasn't started in a while. A big game to come into. He got an 8 from Stuart. Hammerhead says solid. Johnson performance felt a lot better last night than the first leg. He got an 8. And coming on to a game like that at 10 men and that, it's not easy. And he got caught cold for the first 10 or 15 minutes. After that, he grew into that particular game.
Exactly.
And this game yesterday, he was solid throughout. So Johnson got a 9 from James Bong. Robert says 100% better than when he came on in the first leg. Yes. Harmonies. So not do. Richard says, I think Johnson plays better as a left back because he cuts inside like Bowen does as a left-footed right winger. And he has the ability to either just orthodox cross it in with his left or cut back. And he's got good control of the ball as well. So you never know. He could end up being a better left back than a right back.
I think there'll be chance, mate, unless we bring a left back in the summer. he could be our left back as well. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the future left back.
Yeah, so I'm really happy for him, man. Seriously. Let me just remove that, and we will move on to. Let's go to Thomas Souček, everybody, and you, Kieran.
Yeah, Souček as well. I thought he upped his game. I thought at Brentford, my God, his passing was terrible. He didn't do much right against Brentford, and he looked absolutely done. But he stepped up again. I thought he was great. I mean, he needed to be in there. God, I can't imagine a man. If you get the stats, how many miles he covered in that game, because he was everywhere. He was running, chasing everything down. He put a cracking ball out to the left wing to Bowen now. So you remember that?
Yeah, he done some good balls yesterday, man. Some good.
Yeah, his passing improved like 100% all of a sudden. He put a cracking ball out to him. There was one, but as he dummied the geezer, shaded him, and then banged it 50 metres to Fornell. Had a bit of a heavy touch, but it gave us an attack, and he had a shot on goal in the end, Fornell. So yeah, I thought he had a really solid game, mate. It was nice to see that he came back from that poor performance against Brentford, because I think he needed to, and he was a big part of holding them out in the midfield. And yeah, I mean, give him a good solid 8, good 8.
Yep. He's one of the guys that I root for, man, because I just feel that, he just doesn't get a rest. He has got his limitations in regards to his passing and stuff like that. But, I do really always want him to do, and I respect what he's done for West Ham, since he's been here. So I always want him, to do well. Right. Big up Fresh Fielder. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for catching up. Fresh Fielder has given Areola 9. He gave Areola a 9, Sufau a 9, Dawson an 11, Diop a 9, Johnson a 9, Souček a 9, even all still buzzing. I think
I know what all the rest of the scores are going to be then.
But thanks for doing that, Freshy, catching up, and much appreciated. Right, Hammerhead says Thomas Souček could actually pass last night. Brilliant 8. And like I said before, let's take his passing out of it. This guy works hard for West Ham in both boxes. More so this season defensively. He's always winning headers, breaking up play, and yeah, like I respect what he does. The selfless stuff he does for the team.
He does do a lot of it. Yeah, there's a lot of selfless stuff, man. God, goes unnoticed. Especially watching on telly, you don't see the covering he's doing, what he's doing across the pitch, how he's getting up, how he's getting back. The block, it goes unnoticed, especially if you watch highlights or anything like that. You won't see what he does. You'll never see it. Yeah. But superb. And he ran 100 miles yesterday.
Robert says Souček 8. Did nothing outstanding, but was everywhere. Souček gets an 8 from Wally. Stuart says Souček was good too, but I was worried after the Brentford game. We gave him a 7. Richard says Souček ran another marathon. Harmony says Souček 8. Blocked off Leon passing game. Really busy. I think he stood on every blade of grass on the pitch. Boom. I agree. She gave him an 8. James Bong says Souček 10. He was everywhere, with or without the ball. Extra helpings of potato salad at half time. You know what? I'm not going to disagree with your 10, because, he does a lot. He does a lot for the team, man. Seriously.
He does.
Robert says Souček and Sufa played so well they had to do a drug test. Richard says Forrest Gump gets an 8. Right, so now we are going to move on to the player that started as captain, as always. But yeah, let me remove that. And we are going to move on to Declan Rice. Let me remove your rating, Kieran. Everybody, Declan Rice.
Declan does every week nearly. God, he's another 9, isn't he? He's a solid 9, man. God, he scores the goal as well. And he was everywhere. Like Souček, 2 of them now as a pairing in that. But this was one of their better games. And his blocks, his tackles and that. And I mean, it's a guy on a yellow card now. That would have cost us if he got a yellow. Yeah. But his timing for every tackle was superb, mate. He's backing up. And like I said, after we were struggling in that first 20, I think he's the one that decided to calm this game down and try and get the ball, a bit of possession to stop their momentum. because they were on a bit of a roll in that first 20 minutes, and we had to, nullify it for a while, give the back a break, and he done that. And he was superb, mate. Just again, mate. Can you imagine all the European teams and coaches and managers watching him week in, week out now must be going, my God, this is a player. This is a real player, mate. When even the goal, when his first touch was superb, when the boy headed it out to him, his first touch was superb. Yep. He put it there, then he just steadied himself, hit it. I didn't think he hit it as good as I thought he would have done. I thought he would have hit it better than that, but he didn't sky it. He made sure he got through on target. He instead of swiping at it and rushing, he just took his time, hit it, made sure it was going to go. It was handy little deflection, mind you, put it over the goalkeeper's hand. That helped. And brilliant. So another great game from Rice, mate. His money, his price tag must go up every week by a little bit. You see games like that. And again, like Souček, Rice didn't have his greatest game against Brentford either. And they both came back strong as ever. So as a pairing as well was superb. As a pairing, they're a 10, for that game.
Yes, definitely.
And individually, I'd give Rice a 9. And the more I think about it, I probably was a bit mean with Souček. I should have given him a 9 as well. Fuck it.
We're giving him a 9 as well.
Because they were. The more I think about it, the more they were, as a pairing, they were great together. Superb. I suppose Rice gets the extra one because he did score the goal.
He scored. There was one thing in the second half that just made me actually laugh. And I was laughing when you were speaking because I thought about it. And I think Robert might have referred to this about when he put on the afterburners. I see, he picked up the ball. He kind of burst through 2 players. Then he, ran down the wing. But he looked back at the player as he was dribbling. Like, are you going to catch me or what? Yeah, cheeky. But I loved it.
And then went again. When he came a bit closer, he just went again. And all that big burst, he ended up with a corner out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where we're sometimes at our most dangerous. So it's job done.
Right. So
takes another minute off the clock, and we're looking for another chance from a corner. Fantastic.
Yeah. And also, just a quick side note. When Bowen, 4-0's capitalised, and Bowen scored last week against them, it flicked up off Boateng, I think, and it went in, and it wouldn't have gone in because the keeper would have saved it. Then we had the shot from Nakambi. 9 times out of 10, it hits the post, hits the keeper on his back of his shirt, and it goes in. And then, Declan Rice scored at the perfect time, just on half time. Absolutely. And it got a deflection that beat the keeper. So I'm just hoping that the luck is with West Ham,
It was. Things were going our way in that game, mate. Things were going our way. Yeah. And I've got to mention this. One of the reasons that referee was excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Boy, he was a great referee, mate. He let things go. He weren't putting up with any bollocks. And I think he called it absolutely perfectly the whole game. I thought he's a really good ref.
Right. Freshie says Rice gets a 10. James says Decker's 10. Nothing more to say. Wally, Rice gets a 9. Hammerhead says Rice baby. What a lad. Sorry. If anyone doubted if he had a football brain, that goal proved he did. He placed it and waited for the perfect time to finish it. Brilliant. He got a 9 from Hammerhead. Robert says Rice 8, but for the goal 9. Turn on the afterburners when needed and weary of being on a risk of suspension. That's a good point because he had to get through both legs, knowing that yellow card will he's in trouble basically.
Going into a semi-final now, you don't want him missing for the first leg, do you? Especially at home. We have to do something at home this time. So great. Brilliant.
Good point, man. Harmony says Rice baby 10. Didn't fold under pressure of the yellow. Great composure, good strike. Captain's performance lifted the team and the fans to another level. Great summary there. Stuart says Rice has had a couple of below par games of what we are used to seeing in Rice, but he was fantastic. Took his goal well. 9. There are strikers who are useless when they have time to think, which is also correct. Yeah. Robert says Rice is not fast, but slows the ball down and fast over 2 yards. I have seen.
He's got a great little burst. And he's right, Robert. He's got a great little burst of pace for about 3-4 yards that gets him away from players, you know. He sucks them in and then just boom. So, yeah, he has got that little burst.
Robert says, I've seen the sign. I'm trying to think. Right. So, let me remove that and let me go to Manuel Lanzini, aka Mr. Hammerette.
Lanzini, yeah, good. Think about Lanzini. Yeah, he had a good game, mate. He was, again, his work rate was phenomenal. And when I didn't realise how much, I watched it back the second time, how much he tracked back, how much he got in front of them. He was everywhere, mate. It was, when we didn't have the ball, the work he put in was phenomenal. And I thought he was a good game. Without creating a great deal, he was trying to. But I think he works in there, and I thought he was superb. Without being, you know, brilliant. But when we didn't have the ball, I think you couldn't fault what he was doing. He was getting back, getting in front of players. You know, we were pressing as well. When we started pressing them, you know, when their keeper had the ball, you could see him. They were all fucking trying to press, stop them coming out, really frustrating them. I thought he was great, mate. A solid 8, mate. He was really, really good. Loved him.
Right, so Kieran gave him an 8. Let me remove. I need to move this. 1 sec. So 8 from Kieran. 1 second. Let me move that down there. Right, so lock that in. Let's go to the chat. James says Lanzini gets a 9. Robert says Lanzini 8. Pretty small frame about. Stuart says Lanzini did well up and down all night. He got an 8. Hammerhead says Lanzini turned into Messi last night. He was nutmegging players and just pulling off all sorts of little tricks and dirty ones too. The lad has really toughened up and employed some of the dark arts. A 9 out of 10 from Hammerhead, aka Broski. Big up Thailand Paul in the house. Oi oi. Thanks for tuning in, Paul. Harmony says Lanzini 8. Nothing spectacular. Put in a proper shift. Strong in the challenge and some great balls which could have developed into more. Hi, Thailand Paul. Right, I think that's everybody. I'm not sure if Richard is still here. And Freshy as well. Right, let me move on. So we got an 8 from Kieran. Boom. Let's go on to. Let's go. All right, let's read this first, and then we'll go on to. He embarrassed the Lyon midfield so much. I'm not sure many see the Lyon players give up during the game. The ball turned his back to the game and just let the ball hit him, and it was subbed off after that. Sorry, this thing just skipped up. Freshie gave Lanzini. Okay, yeah, Lanzini a 9. Sorry. Right, so now we are on to Pablo Fornals, who I will say, I'm going to take goals out of the equation, and I'm going to say he was my man of the match.
Wow.
Hands down.
Yeah,
he's, for me, I'm picking Pablo. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, he was absolutely wonderful, mate. On and off the ball, mate. He's trying to make things happen when he's got the ball. That pass he put through to Bowen was absolute class. Didn't even have to think about it. Bang. And that killed him. You know what I mean? That goal, that was a difference. That killed him. You know, that ruined their plans for the second half. They were gone. So, and his work rate, like Lanzini, the amount of work they did off the ball when they had the ball, getting back, was fabulous. You could see him for an hour there covering Johnson, helping Johnson out. Between him, their little intricate little 1-2s and triangles. Oh, man, the guy he's just so good. He's so brilliant. I love him. So, yeah, for me, he's another 9. He's one of the Niners. He was fantastic. Loved him. Well done, Pablo.
Straight to the comments. Right. Hammer says, Pablito, what an absolute legend. 9.5. I'm not going to disagree. You know, we got an assist for Dawson, which was he put it in the perfect spot, literally just past that front post, just about right height, perfect ball. Then the one to Bowen.
Forgot about that. Yeah, what a ball that was. What it whipped in. You just see it. It was a great camera view of that from where he was taking it from, wasn't it? Just see it. It was absolutely perfection, you know?
Right, so Freshie says 4-0 gets a 9. What a ball to Bowen for the goal. First time, left-footed again. Yeah, because he's ahead of the game, so he sees things a little bit quicker than most players. Hammerhead says he never gives up. What a battler. The passes he pulled off last night. Wow. Yeah, and this is the thing. Like I said, I've said this before. I'm just going to say it again. Everybody is aware of this. It's very rare that you get a technical player that is also 100% committed, gives 100% work rate, and then once he gets on the ball, he still maintains that quality. It's rare because sometimes it's one or the other. You get the skillful players that they don't really work too hard, or you get the workhorses, like let's say Souček, for instance, but we've all acknowledged his pass is not the best. Pablo Fornals is, probably 5'7", 5'8", so he's quite small. He works hard and he produces quality as well. So, to combine the both, he is a fantastic football player.
You're right, mate. There's not many that you can get that work done. I think this is one of Klopp's things with his players. Because if you ever watch Salah, we know how skillful and brilliant Salah is on the ball. He's technically fantastic. But you see the amount of times he chases back to help Arnold out. He runs back. He works hard. I don't think he gets that much credit for it, Salah, but he does. Yeah. He really does work his arsehole, get back. And it reminds me of Fornals because that boy just, as soon as West Ham ain't got the ball, mate, he's working. He's working to get it back. And he's got a great little knack of, when a boy, when he comes and presses, the guy passes it round, he's got a great little knack of sticking that toe out and getting a touch on it.
And then starting us on another attack. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. Yes, fantastic.
What else he done? I like that he got booked for it, but I loved it. I'm thinking now it's a little bit of payback. It was a goal kick. Yeah, exactly.
He's done that on purpose, didn't he? He brought the ball back to have two balls on the pitch.
Yeah,
he's like, what? He's like, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good on you. That's what we spoke about. Those little tactics in Europe, and like I said last night, they started this. So let's, if whatever we do that they done, when we was nowhere near as bad, but I'm saying like I could excuse that because you lot started it, and now we're gonna give you a taste of your own. We weren't rolled, we didn't do nowhere near.
They had some cheek moaning about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the cheek of it. The cheek. Get out of them. Right, there you go. Right, Stuart says Pablito did really well. 9, solid. Couldn't do any more other than score. That's from Stuart. Harmony says 4-0, 7. A bit sloppy on occasion. Could have been more clinical. Still strong, but not as busy as many others were.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Nah, see, but like I said, that's your opinion. That's your opinion, and that's your right. But I'm saying no.
But I tell you, but having said that, she is quite astute, Harmony. We know
she is.
I'll tell you what, near the end there was a couple of sloppy passes from them that, where we could have maybe took advantage and scored another one. And even Moyes, on Moyes' thing, when the commentator praised Fornals and he went, I weren't happy with a couple near the end.
Yeah.
First thing he said, Moyes, like, he weren't praised, he just said, there was a couple I weren't too happy with at the end. So he was sort of echoing what Harmony's saying there. Maybe that was part of it, yeah.
Was it Lanzini that gave the ball away when they had the shot where Areola pulled off a save? Was it Lanzini that gave the ball? Someone gave the ball away there as well.
Lanzini. Lanzini did. Yeah, it was. That was the first bad pass I saw him make all day, and it was poor. Yeah. And I think when the shot and Areola come to the rescue.
What time is it, Kieran? Says Paul.
It's nearly 8:30 in the morning, Paul. How's he come in, Carlin Paul? Hey, mate.
Yeah, he's there.
I just watched his Songkran, mate. He was down Koh San Road in Bangkok. And do you know Songkran?
Nah.
Titch?
Nah.
Songkran's a festival they have in Thailand. It's a water festival, right? I don't know the origins of it, but in Koh San Road is a big famous street in Bangkok, and you walk down it, and everyone's got a water gun.
Yeah. And
everyone just gets smashed with water. Don't matter. If you're going down, it's a massive big party, mate. Just everyone smashed out their heads, smashing each other water. So yeah, the Songkran Festival must be on this week and this weekend in Bangkok.
No, I didn't see that. I will look. I will check it out. Right. So let me read. Sorry, no. Let me bring him back. We haven't even got through all the thing. 1 second. Sorry, Pablito. Kieran gave him a 9. Let me put that back. Right. Sorry. Fornell's got an 8 from Wally. Robert says Fornell also my man of the match. 2 assists. Gravest energy.
Yep.
Didn't always win the ball back, but just got enough on the ball so it didn't reach its intended target.
Yeah.
And then Robert backed that up with a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I'm glad that he's someone else's man in the match as well, because you know, I think James Bond gave Pablo a 10 out of 10. Wonderful. Hey Harmony and Wally. Hey Paul. We did it in a clever way, Titch. Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Not in no cheating type diving around and all that. Robert says, and when 3-0 up, lost the ball, a foul in my opinion, was left on his ass, jumped up and sprinted back into defense. This is obviously Pablo. Exactly. Thai New Year. Okay, Paul, that looked like
Thai New Year. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the festival was, but Thai New Year.
And going back to what Robert said earlier, when I watched the celebrations at the end, and I did say it during the watch along, Pablo Fornals is loving life at West Ham. You know, he's like, you can see on his face, he is loving it. Seriously. Yeah, you can really see it.
What you can see is happiness, mate.
Yeah.
Just loving it. Just loving it.
Paul, that looked like Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Right, here we go. Right, so now I will remove Pablito, and we will now switch our attentions to Jared Bowen. Everybody.
Hi, mate. Again, he's worked hard. What can you say? What's he scored about 3 out of last 4 games, 3 goals? So he just keeps popping up with that goal. You know, he just keeps being in the right place at the right time and finishing there. And every time I see him on a 1-on-1 now, I know he's going to score. You know, even on his weaker foot.
Yep.
He was great. Yeah, I thought he had a top quality game. I'm trying to remember what else he did in it. Anything outstanding, I mean. But again, the work rate in these players is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And he doesn't stop. Him again was running. He was doing what Fornals was doing with Johnson. They were getting back. They were helping out. Bowen was doing the same. Him and Soufal were switching, always communicating about what player to pick up when we haven't got the ball, you know, and made a massive difference. He was and Kembe was coming at Bowen here and there on that side, and he was covering him, chasing him, pushing him across the pitch, stopping him getting down the line.
Yeah,
great stuff, mate, and a great finish and a great goal. And yeah, he's loving life there too, isn't he, old Bowen? And I'm still not sure he's 100% fit since the injury, you know. I still think he's only about 90%, but great effort. So, yeah, I think he's up there with a 9. Got to be a 9, man. Good goal.
9 out of 10. I will admit to, you know, when Pablo Fornals put him through, I said don't shoot, because I was thinking take it a bit closer. And, you know, he has used his, and that's because I knew he was on his right foot. He was on his right foot. The keeper, you know, I know he was his second joint. He dived full stretch and Bowen put it, you know, right in the corner where the keeper can't get it. That was a fantastic finish on, you know, it is his weaker foot. And to show that composure under pressure from the defender, the keeper's sort of rushing out to dive as well. And to put it where he put it was, you know, that killed off the game. So that was a vital goal.
Yeah.
So well done. Right, here we go. Right, Freshie says Pablo gets a 9, Bowen gets a 10. It's on Bourbon Street, Sableteen. Hamid says, like nothing ever happened to him. What an absolute talent Bowen is. He can use both feet. He's strong, he's fast, jumps high for a small player. The lad is special and still getting better. 9.5 from Hammerhead. Wally gave him a 9 out of 10. James gave him a 9 out of 10. Robert says Bowen 8. Hard worker and scored. With his weaker foot. Change that to a 9 from Robert. Sable Team says Bowen's on fire. 9. Love watching him play. Just goes to show there is quality in the Championship. Yeah, and credit to West Ham's the scouts and that actually identified him. Did I miss Mali's comment? I think I did. Yeah, because I didn't read it out. Sorry. Big up, Big Mali. He's just joined. Thanks for joining. He says any team that can smash Lyon in their own backyard deserves a 10 out of 10. Let me go here. Harmony says Bowen 9, nearly a 10. Dan James needs to watch him. Explosive speed, just but controlled. Strong on the ball and in the challenge. Got in some great positions. Made all and took his goal very well. Looks an amazing place, not just to visit, but that's Bourbon Street. Hammerhead meant 10. He forgot to upgrade it. Right. So I can't remember. Say, sorry. Before we get on to Antonio, Lyon had scored in their last 15 European games, which was obviously Champions League and Europa League. They'd scored in all of those home games. They were unbeaten in this competition this season. And this time, 2 years ago, they were knocking Barcelona out of the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Unbelievable.
Right. So that's who we just, convincingly beat last night.
They've knocked out Man City once as well, haven't they?
Yeah. I think that weren't last season. No, not last season. But yeah, they did knock out Man City as well. Back. Yeah. No, 9.5. Right. So, as always, thanks to everyone who's tuned in. I know that, it might have dragged on, but it's a special occasion. And yeah, we was a little distracted, whatever. But yeah, thanks for staying part of the show. Right. So we will move on to, let me bring him up. 1 second. Let me find it. We will move on to Mikael Antonio.
Wow. Jesus. He was phenomenal. I think I keep saying when people saying about, he's not a striker and he's not this, it doesn't matter. He's integral to how West Ham play. And if anyone ain't figured out yet, at best, when our team performance, we're better when we're a counter-attacking side. And we can't do what we do without him. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that, right? We can't do it. We can't just have a forward that stands in the middle waiting for the ball. That's not Moyes' plan. His plan is to break quick, get the ball to him, and he holds it. He turns. He batters defenders. He flicks on. He's man, I thought the boy was unbelievable. The work he put into that game, mate. I can't believe he was standing. Well, he hardly was standing by the time he walked off. But my God, that was a great performance from him. He was so strong. You can look at the chances he created. And I'll tell you one, in that first goal, they headed by Dawson, to get that corner, that was a cracking long ball by Diop, funny enough. About 15-meter pass onto his chest. And he was smart enough to chest it to Bowen, who slipped and took the shot, and the boy deflected it wide, right? And from that corner, we score. Yeah. Right? This is what he was doing, right? He was winning everything, holding it, laying it off. He also, if you remember, he got the ball in the box and skipped around it and then chipped that ball to Bowen who, on the stretch.
Yeah. And he missed it on his right foot. Yeah. He couldn't do nothing.
He was on the stretch and he nearly got there. A cracking little ball in from Antonio.
It was.
I thought he was fantastic. Absolutely. Without scoring a goal, mate, the guy battered them. I think he was a major part of how we play. We're a better team when we've got 35% of possession. We're a more dangerous team. And so I'm going to give him a 9.5. He was
let me move that. Move that down. About there. 9.5 for Mikael Antonio. Lock that. Right, so TDT, my wife is from there, New Orleans, definitely a party time, but what I love is the food. Bit too hot and humid to live there though. Antonio, all right. Stuart says Antonio was fantastic, strong and held the ball up well in good positions. Solid 8. Antonio gets an 8 from Wally. Hame says, Antonio. Absolute machine. He ran them ragged. 9. Would have been a 10 if he'd scored. It'll come, though. I'm confident. So, yeah, everything but a goal in that performance. James says, Antonio 10. Probably his best game of the season. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I would. It was so important what he did yesterday. It's as simple as that. Without him, we don't win that game 3-0. He was, regardless if he got assists or not, he was part of creating chances, getting that corner, battering their defence. That's where they were weak at defence, and he took advantage of that. And he was so strong, mate. So strong. And because I watched it back like yourself, Titch, there are other examples of that's gone out of my head at the moment that he did.
Yeah.
He was fabulous. He really was. And if anyone really wants, didn't think he was that great, watch the game back and just watch him and see what he did. He gave us that outlet and brought other players into play all the time, mate. He was fabulous. There was another one of them headers. He done it against Brentford against them last week. We just held the ball up and flicked it on to, I think, Fornals or Bowen. It was brilliant. He was winning everything. Great. And I can understand people giving him a 10. That's how good he was. If you really watch him, I don't give out 10s unless you score a hat-trick.
Yeah.
And have a great game, right? But I can understand him giving him a 10 because I thought he was so important to us yesterday. Fabulous.
So Freshfield has given him a 10. And, like you said, is without scoring a goal. And, for someone to get a 10, it shows that people are acknowledging, what he does or what he done for the team in that game. Lee Statham's main man, Antonio, 9. Ran all night, full of energy, burst of speed, led Lee on a merry dance. Truly deserved a goal. Fantastic game. So we got a 9 from Harmony. You know what video I'm going to play? I'm going to play it now. It's a short video. 1 second. Very short video.
Antonio!
Big up, Lee.
Last cup of tea. Brilliant. Well done, Lee. You got it, mate. You knew how good he was, mate.
Exactly. Robert says Antonio 9 gave his all and ran the clock down beautiful with winning fouls and another glancing header while opportunities, I think is the next word. Occupying. Sorry, while occupying the centre back. That's from Robert. So he got a 9 out of 10.
That's that. Never he's talking about.
Yeah. Tynan says I'm hungry now. Cheers. You read my mind. Right. Hat tricks 11, mate. Yeah. So Freshie said they get a hat trick, they get 11.
I'm not sure. I didn't realise that.
Look, Lee has given his rating. He's given a 10 out of 10 for Antonio. And
of course he did.
James says poor Ballon d'Ors will never get a 10 off Kieran.
He scores a hat trick, mate. He will.
Right, now we're going to move on to, I won't do Ben Rama everywhere because he came on, basically you can't rate him, but I will do the other two. Right, so the first one was Mark Noble came on for Manuel Lanzini. I'll tell you the exact minute if you're not aware.
15 or something?
Yeah, roughly. I'm going to just give you the exact. I think it was on 77. Let me just make sure. There was 4 minutes of injury time, and Noble came on. Yeah, on the 77th minute. So he played. Yeah, just 16, 17, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he just came on and done his job. He just run as hard as he could. Didn't do anything wrong. Just tried to close the game out, chase them. So yeah, it's probably a good idea to give Lanzini a bit of a rest, let him do a bit of running around, and that's what he did. He chased them down, got the ball. Nothing fabulous, but it didn't need to be. Yeah. It was just about controlling the game then and taking minutes off the clock, and he was good at that. So yeah, he comes on and he gets a 7 from me. Well, he should get a 10 out of 10 really, because it's just him, isn't it? He gets a 7, mate. He done what what he had to do. He ran around and put a lot of effort in too in that 15 minutes. Give him that. So yeah,
7 out of 10 for Nobes. Let me do that and that. Right. Okay. So, Big Mally says, I can't give any players less than a 10. Antonio reminds me of Bamford, dragging players out of position, creating spaces for his teammates. Good observation. Yeah, because I know Bamford, some people, the criticism is he doesn't score as many goals as they feel he should. But if he is doing what Antonio's doing, then you ain't going to be in a position to score because you're doing the graft. Hammerhead, Nobe's done well. He got a 7. Robert says a 7.6, I think. Christopher says you're still live. Yeah, blame me. Talking too much. Hi, Talent Paul. In England, it's 20-12. I know we're nearly finished though. Now 4. We're talking about 40. Yeah, 20-12. Robert says Noble 7. Did what he does. Tried running the ball in the corner. He got 7.
Yeah.
James says a Noble 8 for Mr. West Ham. That's a good one. Lee gave Noble a 10. 5:40 in the morning in Bangkok, and I'm starving, says Paul. Harmony says no.
Offer some noodles. Offer some noodles soon. That would.
He'll be eating something in a minute. Harmony says Noble 8 just for being him. Stood his ground, made no mistakes, got stuck in, loved his smiles throughout his time on the pitch. How are you, Talon Paul? Stuart says 7 for Nobes. It would be excellent if he could finally get his hands on some silverware. And it would be. No doubt it was a 76-minute sub. So it would have been 76 minutes on the clock, and then that is the 77th minute. Yeah, sorry, my bad. I thought you said 7.6. So what's your rating, Robert? No, he gave it already, didn't he? Yeah, he gave him a 7. Sorry, my bad. Beans on toast for Paul. Right, so let me move on to, the other meaningful sub, and he came on 84 minutes, and then there was 4 minutes injured. So 10 minutes was, let me remove that was Yarmolenko came on for Antonio, and he played basically 10 minutes.
Yeah, just same again. It's hard to. He came on trying to battle. I mean, he committed a couple of fouls in the first couple of minutes just to slow the ball down. Kicker, mate, held it here and there. There's not a great deal to say. The game was over. He just come on. I really can't say a lot about it. But he did give a couple of fouls away, slowed the game down. That's what his job was. Held it. So I'll give him a 7 as well, Just done without making any mistakes.
Yeah. That was a nice, easy one, obviously. Sorry, let's see what everybody says about Yarmolenko in the... Okay, right. Robert says... he said keep up, first of all, which, I know. He said Yarmolenko 6, put it about. Stuart says, good to see Yarma smile, gave him a 7. Tynan Paul, what city to be hungry? And I'm envious.
Same here.
Here we go. So all subs got an 8 from Freshie, and Lee gave Yarmolenko a 6. I think that's all. Right, here we go. James says Yarma gave it some, got an 8. Christopher, what time is it where you are? Most of us in the UK, Christopher. It's just Kieran. Freshfield is
it's quarter. Yeah, it's 8:45 in the morning, my time, Christopher. A lot earlier. It's a lot earlier for Paul. I think he's 4 hours behind me, I think.
Yarmolenko was being very physical when he came on 7.5 from Hammerhead, and Harmony says Yarma 6. Couple silly mistakes, maybe deliberate to slow the game down. Didn't really have much time to get that involved. Yep. Right. So on to who we're going to now. That man, David Moyes.
Oh, right. All you got to think about is where he's taken us in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a semi-final of the Europa League, mate, and I can't understand why everyone doubts him and doubts when we have a bad game, or he might not quite get it right. And next thing, do we need him? Is he get rid of? What are you talking about, mate? Remember where you were 2 years ago. And he has a philosophy. He sticks by it. And that's probably why I'm saying when we play Burnley, I'm not sure if he'll go again and go, right, boys, out you go again. Come on, perform again. Yeah, that's what you're here for. I'll pay your wages. You're here to play football and get out there and go and win another game. Where, sometimes we think he should rotate more. But here he goes. He put out the team that I think it more or less picked itself. I didn't expect that's the team I picked. I just wasn't sure whether he was going to go 3 at the back. But it'd still have been the same personnel that took the field. So he done it right, mate. He got it right. Banged them. And he's got to give him a 9 out of 10, mate, for his performance. It's a massive European game in Lyon, mate, away from home. We got through the first game, with adversity, being down to 10 men and a referee that couldn't wait to fucking see us lose by the looks of things. Thank God we had a great referee in this game.
Yeah.
And, we outdone them, mate. We outfought them. We outfought them and outfunked them. He was good, mate. He got the tactics right, I think. Well, I think this is how we play best. Let them come at us and we counter-attack and we grind them down. We just nick goals. And that's what we did. And what I did like about us, we've had other games like this where we've drawn or lost where we weren't clinical enough. This keeps coming up. We weren't clinical enough. But we was today or yesterday. Yeah. We were clinical in our chances. We took them. And we got 3 goals. So well done, Moyes. Nice 9 out of 10. Deserved it.
Definitely. Right. James said Yama treated Lyon players like they were Russian. Robert says Moyes 9. Did the subs just about right? Christopher says, so you woke up at 7 in the morning. Kieran worked. Yeah, was it 7 that you got up for today's show?
Yeah, I got up at 6 actually, but we started at 7.
Yeah. Hammerhead says 11 out of 10 for Moyes. Freshy says 10 out of 10 for Moyes. Stuart says 10 out of 10 for Moyes. He's a top-class manager. James gave him a 10 out of 10. Christopher gave him a 9. Lee gave him a 20 out of 10. Robert says, can't see him making too many changes for Sunday. 2 to 3 max. Big Mally says, what made you deduct 1 point, Kieran? That's what Big Mally says.
For Moyes?
Yeah.
I can't give anyone a 10, mate. I can't. If he wins the Europa League final, he's getting a 10. That's it.
Harmony says, Mr. Moyes, a defo 11 out of 10. He planned this out to perfection. The players spoke of the team meeting beforehand and where he had highlighted their weak spots. See, Harmony knows a lot. So yeah, right. So we are going to go on to the last one, but obviously fantastic West Ham doing the club proud. It's a new era at West Ham. And yeah, we're on the right path. Anything can happen now at this stage in the competition. We're playing a team that knocked out the team that I was, saying are probably the favorite. So that doesn't mean it's going to be an easy game because they've beaten the team that we all sort of, I not feared, but I was very wary of Barcelona. My fear is that when we went 3-0 out, he might have made changes that might have drawn them onto us, and he didn't. Yeah. Right.
I agree with that, Robert. I was worried about that too because I didn't want us to go what we've done in the past, real defensive and just make changes to make it more defensive and give them hope. I didn't want to give them any hope,
Exactly.
But we didn't.
Right. So just before we wrap up the show, everybody in the chat, finally, what do we give Harry Giza for his player ratings and insights?
I didn't give any 10. No, I didn't give anyone a 10, so I'm going to get slagged off for that.
So yeah, how was Kieran's ratings in comparison to last night?
I'll give the away fans out there a 10 out of 10. They deserve it, man. All the boys that travelled out there, right? And well, good. It just shows you what their fans are like when they've got to put a big net up around the bloody stadium, isn't it? To stop them throwing things onto the pitch.
Exactly. Robert says, bring on the German sausage eaters.
That's what we got next, mate.
Hammerhead gave you a 69 out of 10. Do you accept the 69?
No, I accept anything.
He also said legendary performance for fuckface. Harmony gave you 11 as always.
You know, mate, it's too generous.
Disabled Team says 9. I would have given him a 10, but he doesn't like 10s. That's a good one.
Very true. Yeah, it's not right.
Lee gave you a 10 out of 10.
Oh, what a lad Lee is, see? He knows Antonio's brilliant too.
Robert says Kieran, as normal, 9 out of 10. He didn't score a hat trick.
Correct, Robert. Yeah, I need a hat trick for that, mate.
We're just waiting on James Bong Stu. What about your women, Kieran? Do you not like 10s then? That's a good one.
Yeah, I like them. I just never had one.
Yeah, that's why. Now we know why you don't give out 10s. It all makes sense. Big Mally says, can't give Kieran more than a 9. James says, I would have given Kieran a 10, but no hat trick. 9.75 from James.
Bang on, Jamesy. Bang on, son.
But yeah, you look, I know it's been quite a long show. And yeah, you know, it's not planned, but it just panned out that way. You know, we had a lot of talking points. Then we had the Sean Dice thing and all of that. So yeah, we weren't just chatting about food or whatever. You know, we was talking football basically. Hammerhead 0.5. Right. But yeah, you know, I think everybody's still on a high. And me personally, I kind of wanted to talk in depth about that performance last night. And just to clarify, you know, I did say to Kieran before the game that regardless of the score, the outcome, or, you know, we will do this show because, you know, West Ham have earned the right for us to pay our respects to, you know, the journey. Thankfully.
And have a great memory as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a great memory.
We are in the next round, so we do this again. We go again. But yeah, man. Kieran, any final words, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, sir. Again, we got to do the home leg first, haven't we? But it's never been my preference. Always like to get them at home for the second leg, but we got through it, didn't we? We done that, and I think 3 out of them 4 teams won the away leg in them quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So you know it can be done. So yeah, lock on to the 28th and the 5th. We hopefully get them at home and get what I wanted this time, 2-goal lead going out there. That's what I want. I want a 2-goal lead going out there. Hopefully we can do it this time. Hopefully we've got a good referee again and we won't get anyone sent off and we have a better chance. So, yeah, just rock on Frankfurt.
Yeah. Robert says, West Ham women's tomorrow v Man City in a cup coming your ways. I think that's the semi-final. I could be wrong, but I think it might be the semi-final. So well done to the West Ham ladies.
Yeah, there's a few 10s. There's a few 10s in that team.
Big Mally says West Ham v Rangers in the final? Question mark. You never know.
Battle of Britain.
Yeah. Lee says Titch 10 out of 10. Thank you, Lee. Main man. So Lee definitely gets a 10. I recorded the game, says Hammerhead. And Wally says Frankfurt weaker than Lyon and Sevilla. I don't know about that. And what I do know is that realistically, any one of the 4 teams can now win this. There ain't no outright favorite, which is it's a good thing, but also it's not a good thing for us because we would love 3 easy teams. But yeah, everybody has got every chance of winning this now, which is
there's a possibility of having a British final or an all-German final or a mix. You never know what could happen with this.
Exactly.
You never know.
We've got the whole world in our hands. We got the whole wide world in our... Yeah, I know that song. In our hands. Kieran, you want to sing that song? We got the whole world in our hands.
Really? No.
I knew he was going to say that. But yeah, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm not sure when we are back. It might be for Guess Who on Tuesday. It probably is actually. No, sorry. We're playing Burnley. Kieran will watch that, so we might do a player ratings for Burnley. Because it's not on. I don't really stream games, so but you know I don't really give ratings either, so I don't have to watch the game to do.
That's Sunday night, isn't it, guys?
Yeah. So yeah, probably that. The Burnley player ratings. That's probably when we'll be back next. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, as always, Kieran. Yeah, we'll see all of you soon. Probably Burnley player ratings. Ciao.
See you later.